Before we dive in, make sure you hit subscribe, because what you're about to hear isn't just another prison story. It's a nightmare that unfolded right under the guards' noses. It started on a freezing morning in January 2015 at the Greenfield Correctional Facility, a maximum security prison tucked deep in upstate New York. The guards walked their usual rounds, coffee in hand, boots echoing against the concrete floors. But when Officer Daniels reached cell 214, he noticed something off. The inmate inside, Daniel West, was gone. At first, they thought it was a mistake. Maybe West had been transferred or taken for a medical checkup. But when the logbooks showed no record and the cameras revealed nothing, panic spread through the facility like wildfire. Every door was locked, every exit sealed, yet somehow, Daniel West, a man serving life without parole, had vanished. West wasn't just any inmate. He was a former construction worker from Buffalo, convicted of armed robbery and the murder of a gas station clerk. He'd kept to himself, quiet and polite, the kind of prisoner guards didn't worry about. No fights, no trouble, just a man serving time. But that quietness hid something else: patience. When investigators entered his cell, everything looked normal. The bed was made, the small sink and toilet spotless. But when they moved the steel bunk bed, something strange caught their eyes: a faint crack in the concrete wall. Closer inspection revealed the unimaginable. Behind the crack was a hole, a perfectly carved tunnel, just wide enough for a man to crawl through. For months, West had been digging, using nothing more than a sharpened metal spoon and pieces of wire scavenged from electrical fixtures. He chipped away at the wall inch by inch. Each night, he covered the hole with a piece of cardboard painted to match the wall's color. And during inspections, guards saw nothing. What they didn't know was that the tunnel stretched nearly 30 feet, cutting through concrete, dirt, and old drainage pipes that hadn't been used in decades. He'd used the prison's plumbing system as his escape route, crawling through filth and darkness until he reached the disused maintenance hatch outside the prison's perimeter fence. No alarms were triggered, no cameras caught him. By dawn, he was gone. The warden called an immediate lockdown. State police flooded the area, helicopters combed the nearby woods, and roadblocks went up for miles. But West had disappeared into the cold morning mist, leaving behind only that tunnel and a handmade map drawn on the back of a Bible page. The discovery raised impossible questions. How could an inmate dig for months without anyone hearing? Who helped him? Because the deeper investigators looked, the clearer it became West couldn't have done this alone. Then came a discovery that changed everything. Hidden beneath the mattress, inside a hollowed-out book, officers found a folded photograph. A woman smiling next to a young boy taken years before West's conviction. But on the back, scrawled in faded ink, were 5 chilling words: "He doesn't know I'm coming." 2 days after the escape, the manhunt stretched across 3 states. Every highway, bus terminal, and train station was on alert. The FBI joined in, combing through phone records, letters, and visitation logs. That's when they found her name: Emily Carter. She was the woman in the photo found in West's cell, a woman he wasn't supposed to have any contact with. She was 36, a nurse from Albany, and most importantly, she had no official connection to West's case. But when agents traced her phone activity, they discovered dozens of late-night calls made to a disposable number linked to Greenfield Correctional Facility. Someone inside had been patching those calls directly to West's cell block.
Emily had a clean record, a quiet life, and a son, Jacob, now 12 years old. But when agents knocked on her door, she was gone. Neighbors said she'd packed her car and left town the morning after the escape. No destination, no word to family, no trace. Investigators now had 2 people missing, possibly working together. And when they dug deeper, they uncovered the story that tied them together. Years earlier, before his arrest, Daniel West had worked on a small construction crew renovating a suburban home. That home belonged to Emily Carter and her husband, David. Witnesses later recalled how West had seemed protective of her, almost obsessed, but back then, no one thought much of it. 2 months later, David Carter was found dead, shot in the chest during a supposed home invasion. Emily had been home at the time, but she claimed she didn't see the intruder. West was arrested weeks later for an unrelated robbery. The murder case went cold. Now, a decade later, the truth seemed to be clawing its way back to the surface. Inside the prison, the investigation revealed a second shock. Security logs had been tampered with, camera feeds looped, inspection schedules altered. Someone inside had been helping West from the beginning, and the prime suspect? A correctional officer named Mark Delaney. Delaney was a 7-year veteran with a spotless record, but when detectives searched his locker, they found letters, dozens of them, written in a woman's handwriting. They were signed E. The letters spoke of plans, promises, and a future beyond the walls. Each was dated over several months leading up to the escape. The handwriting matched Emily Carter's. The FBI traced Delaney's financial records and found large cash deposits, unexplained, all made in small increments to avoid suspicion. It became clear West hadn't escaped alone. He'd had inside help, and the woman who once claimed to be his victim was now his accomplice. Then, on the 6th day of the manhunt, a truck driver reported seeing a man and woman at a rural gas station in Pennsylvania. The man matched West's description, wearing a baseball cap pulled low. Surveillance footage confirmed it: Daniel West and Emily Carter, alive and together. But something about the video chilled investigators. West wasn't smiling. He looked thinner, anxious, constantly scanning the parking lot. And as Emily filled the gas tank, she turned toward the camera, her face pale, her eyes darting to the man behind her. For just a split second, the footage caught her lips move. Experts later enhanced the clip, and when they read what she said, it sent a shiver through every agent in the room. She whispered, "He's not who you think he is." 3 weeks after the escape, the trail went cold in the Appalachian foothills. West and Emily Carter had vanished again. No phone signals, no bank withdrawals, no sightings. It was as if the earth itself had swallowed them whole. Then, in early February, a farmer in rural Ohio made a call that reignited the case. He'd found an abandoned pickup truck near a drainage culvert, its doors open, engine cold. Inside were 2 things: a blood-stained jacket and a torn photograph, the same woman and child seen in West's cell, only this time the child was crossed out in black ink. Forensics confirmed the blood was Daniel West's, but there were no bodies. The FBI expanded the search to nearby fields and abandoned properties. That's when they discovered something buried behind an old farmhouse, a freshly dug tunnel leading from the cellar to a creek bed almost a half-mile away. It was nearly identical to the one that West had carved in prison, right down to the structural supports made from scavenged wood and metal piping. Someone had been planning another escape route. But the question was, from what? Investigators found traces of 2 people living inside that farmhouse, 1 sleeping bag, 1 used teacup, and on the wall, written in charcoal, were words that froze every agent in place. "She made me do it."
The writing matched West's. As agents searched the surrounding area, they uncovered the truth piece by piece. Emily Carter wasn't the hostage, or even just an accomplice. She was the architect. Her husband's murder years ago hadn't been random. Evidence recovered from her old laptop, hidden behind encrypted files, revealed financial transfers, property deeds, and messages to West dating back before the crime. She had orchestrated her husband's death for the insurance money and manipulated West, then a struggling worker, into taking the fall. When West went to prison, she moved on, built a new life, raised her son, and thought her secret would stay buried. But when West discovered the truth, he started planning his escape, not to find freedom, but revenge. Those letters she wrote to Officer Delaney, they weren't love notes, they were bait. Emily had manipulated Delaney into helping West escape, believing he was freeing 2 lovers desperate to reunite. In reality, she'd set in motion the release of the one man who wanted her dead.
FBI agents found Emily Carter's body 2 miles from the farmhouse, buried shallowly beneath a pile of stones. Her cause of death? Strangulation. Daniel West was never found. The last known evidence of his whereabouts came from a highway security camera near the Indiana border, a lone figure walking along the shoulder at dawn, wearing a torn prison jacket and carrying a duffel bag. He vanished into the fog, heading west. The FBI officially closed the case 6 months later, labeling West as presumed deceased. But local deputies still talk about sightings, an old man living off-grid, moving from town to town, always paying in cash, always disappearing before anyone asks too many questions. And sometimes, when a missing person turns up near old farmland in that region, investigators notice something eerily familiar. A narrow tunnel dug beneath the ground, supported by wooden beams, leading nowhere. Because maybe Daniel West didn't dig to escape prison. Maybe he was building one of his own. If this story shook you, you're not ready for what's coming next. Subscribe now, because the next escape wasn't a one-man job.